this episode of Beyond Stardom, 5 hard-working celebrities who like to keep their fingers in a large number of pies. This Italian-American was voted the greatest living actor by Britain's Empire magazine in 2004. Robert De Niro's improvised "You Talking to Me" line from 1976's Taxi Driver also got the gong as the country's favourite movie catchphrase. Since being nominated for an Oscar for the role of Travis Bickle in Martin Scorsese's Thriller, Robert has made a name for himself playing a string of charming sociopaths. You certainly wouldn't want to get on the bad side of characters like Max Cady from Cape Fear or Jake La Motta from Raging Bull. For the latter film, Robert's commitment to the role saw him gaining 60 pounds in weight halfway through shooting the film, to turn himself from a young fit boxer into a fat middle-aged bully. His background in method acting has often pushed him to extremes in the pursuit of nailing characters. As well as driving a cab for 3 months in preparation for Taxi Driver, he shaved his hairline to play Al Capone in The Untouchables and learned how to play saxophone for New York, New York. Such fanaticism has helped him win 2 Oscars, 1 Golden Globe, and the glowing admiration of his peers and co-stars. In 2003, when he paid a visit to Hollywood's Kodak Theatre to receive a Lifetime Achievement Award from the American Film Institute, big-name actors, directors and producers were queuing up to honor him. His Cape Fear co-star Juliette Lewis explained why.
When you're that good and you're so professional, he would come to the set and he was very easy to talk to and very professional and prepared, so he never acted like a psycho off screen. And I know a lot of young actors think you got to do that, but that's not how De Niro does it. He's so professional and lovely and humble as a man, so I'm very excited to pay my respects to him tonight.
In 2007, young actor Charlie Cox, who co-starred in the fantasy epic Stardust, couldn't believe his luck at getting close up and personal with a hands-on actor.
I got to have makeup put on by Robert De Niro. How many people can say that? Not many. He cut my hair, you know.
Despite having made more than 60 films over a 40-year career, Robert is famously shy in public, preferring to let his co-stars do the talking on the red carpet. Although as the director of The Good Shepherd, he was persuaded to say a few words about his stellar staff at the film's premiere.
They're all I'm very happy and fortunate to have had a great cast, you know. Great actors, wonderful. I'm lucky.
On set, however, there were no communication problems.
He's very communicative, and I always knew what he needed, and he's very particular and attentive to every little detail. He's famous for, and legendary really, for his attention to detail. And yeah, I mean, he was fantastic as a director. He was everything I could have hoped for, and I hope for a lot.
As co-founder of New York's Tribeca Film Festival, he's had to get used to stepping up to the microphone. He and Jane Rosenthal set up the film festival in response to the September 11 attacks in 2001.
120 days ago, we set out to launch a film festival. Our goal was to celebrate the power of filmmaking, but more importantly, to revitalize our neighborhood that was devastated on September 11th. The past months have been a time of great mourning for New York, and I'd like us to observe a moment of silence.
Thrown together in a matter of 4 months, Tribeca now runs for 12 days and has become a staple event in the film festival calendar. Aside from his love of film, one of Robert's chief obsessions is food. He and business partner Drew Nieporent are co-owners of the swanky Japanese fusion restaurant chain Nobu, which recently extended its reach to Melbourne, Australia. At the launch, Robert justified his investment.
You eat every day, so you can't escape. You might as well enjoy it. It's a no-brainer.
After taking time off to show his kids Australia, it was off to Rome in a quest to recover several abstract artworks that were painted by his artist father, Robert Sr.
He had a studio in Soho, now so trendy, but at that time it was, you might as well have been in Siberia in New York. And there was nothing glamorous about that time. This was in the 50s.
It may have been his father's death from cancer in 1993 that helped Robert to an early diagnosis of his own prostate cancer 10 years later. After treatment, Robert was given a great prognosis for a full recovery. According to the Forbes Ultimate Star Payback list, this actor-screenwriter is the most bankable star in Hollywood. That statistic surely puts paid to Matt Damon's image as Mr. Boring. No doubt he first scored that label after playing a young math genius in the film that turned Matt and best mate Ben Affleck into household names in 1997. Having also written the Oscar-winning screenplay to Good Will Hunting, Matt and Ben immediately gained traction as serious filmmakers. While Ben's career as a leading man immediately took off, Matt quietly worked his way up the ranks, playing a wide variety of roles in mainstream and independent films, like Saving Private Ryan, The Talented Mr. Ripley, Stuck on You, and Jerry. By the time Matt was cast as the amnesiac assassin Jason Bourne in Bourne Identity, Ben's career was preparing to take a nosedive, thanks to a string of duds like Daredevil, Gigli, and Jersey Girl. Bourne Identity raked in $213 million at the box office. The Bourne Supremacy did even better, and the final installment of the trilogy doubled the earnings of the first film. No wonder Matt was a little sentimental.
Well, it's sad to say goodbye to that character. So I'm not totally closing the door. If Paul Greengrass wants to direct another one, then I'd do it.
He's also been enjoying his ride on another blockbusting franchise. After 3 outings as a member of Danny Ocean's crack team of con artists, he's clearly comfortable clowning around with a cast of A-list big hitters.
There have been a lot of changes since we started these movies.
Brad's had it tough.
Brad's had it tough.
Hobbled with children.
And that wife.
Horrible, ugly wife.
I mean, to go home to her every day.
What do you do? I mean, tell yourself like that.
Well, you have your work.
There's your work.
That's about it. You can take refuge there.
Brad Pitt was again his preoccupation on the red carpet at the premiere of The Good Shepherd, in which he co-starred with Brad's partner Angelina Jolie.
I think there was weirdness for Brad. I think my incredible sex appeal probably freaked him out a little bit, made him a little insecure, and I get that.
But jokes aside, like many of his illustrious co-stars, Matt takes certain things very seriously, such as his commitment to improving the living conditions of the world's poor. Along with Ocean's colleagues George Clooney and Pitt, he supports ONE, a campaign to fight AIDS and poverty in third world countries. He is also very actively involved in another organization called One by One that aims to improve the lives of children around the world. And at a charity gala in Toronto, he took the opportunity to promote his clean water initiative in Africa.
I went to Africa a few months ago, and just as to kind of start the process of educating myself about what some of the issues are there, and I came back feeling. I mean, it changed my life, and I came back feeling really, really hopeful about the situation there, and I feel like we're really close to solving a lot of the problems.
And his involvement with such projects has sometimes made it hard to adjust back to life as a Hollywood celebrity.
Absolutely difficult, and your perspective changes. It doesn't mean you can't focus on your own life, and I mean, it doesn't mean life as you know has to end. It's just that it definitely colors your perspective in a different way. I mean, you become very aware of all of the things that we have here and all the things we take for granted, and the frivolity of some of the things we spend our time focusing on. Your perspective definitely changes.
His down-to-earth perspective may also have influenced Matt's choice of a wife. After romances with fellow actors like Minnie Driver and Winona Ryder, he met Argentine-born Luciana Barroso in Miami, where she was working as a bartender. The couple were married in 2005 and had their first child, Isabella, the following year. And according to Matt, Luciana makes sure he makes time for the family.
Well, I was sitting with my wife, and she pointed to this pile of scripts. And she said, what is that? And I looked and I said, oh, those are the movies that start shooting in September. And she looked at it for a while, and she looked at me, and she said, you like being married? So I went, yeah, okay.
This heiress wore nothing but a layer of gold paint in a recent ad campaign for canned Italian sparkling wine. Paris Hilton managed to squeeze the nude shoot in between the bewildering number of engagements that have been keeping her busy since her stint in a Los Angeles jail in June 2007. However, one commitment she wasn't able to meet was the trip to Rwanda she vowed to make upon her release from the Century Regional Detention Facility. In an interview with TV journalist Barbara Walters from the jail's medical wing, she claimed that God had given her a new chance and that she would immediately stop acting dumb and put her influence to good use. The visit to Rwanda, scheduled for November, was part of the socialite's plan to visit more countries where poverty and children's issues are a big concern, but ended up being pushed back to an indefinite date in 2008. One thing that couldn't be put back was Paris's decision to sell her beloved Hollywood mansion and move to somewhere a little less accessible to the clamoring press.
I'm gonna miss my house because I love it. I really designed it to be my perfect taste, but it's just too many people know where I live, and I'd rather be in a gated community.
The luxury home above Sunset Boulevard was snapped up in 10 days for $4.5 million. Despite her sadness at having to move, she was all smiles at the launch of her newest enterprise, Paris Hilton Clothing, when it was unveiled at popular celebrity boutique Kitson's.
You just have a lot of fun clothes. It's really sparkly and they stand out and they're fashionable, they're affordable. A lot of the tees, I designed everything, so it's just very my style.
How long did it take you to put this fashion line together?
We've been working on this line for the past year, so we already have the other lines that are coming out next month as well, so it's great.
Paris has also been using her influence to shift her latest fragrance. Following up on the success of Paris Hilton, Just Me, and Heiress, Can was unveiled in October 2007. On hand for moral support were her parents Kathy and Richard, and in line with her newfound concern for others, Paris insisted that a portion of the proceeds from sales of Can went to the LA Children's Hospital. A generous move in view of the rumor that her billionaire grandfather had been so appalled by her bratish behavior that he was planning to cut off her $59 million inheritance. But who needs granddaddy's money when you're a past master at cashing in on celebrity? In 2004, Paris received a $100,000 advance for her autobiography, Confessions of an Heiress, a tongue-in-cheek peek behind the pose. Panned by critics for its amateurish writing and lightweight content, it became a New York Times bestseller. After starring in 3 seasons of the Fox reality series The Simple Life, along with best friend Nicole Richie, Paris had found plenty of currency in playing the rich, dumb blonde. And she was certainly very convincing in the role.
I'm just here to get some diamonds. Just got this Stella McCartney bow diamond ring, which I love. It's so cute. They just last forever. When a guy gives you a diamond, you know he really loves you. And they're beautiful. It's the best stone, I think, of all of them.
A simple girl with simple tastes.
I love the Oscars because I love the party. It's a lot of fun. And it's just, everyone comes out and has a good time. It's like old Hollywood glamour, and everyone's dressed up to tease, so it's cool.
It wasn't long before she graduated from small to big screen in the teen screamer House of Wax, but that didn't get her closer to the stage at the Oscars. Although her role as a slasher victim did bring her to the attention of the critics, a Razzie Award was probably not the honor she'd hoped for. Paris pressed on with the modeling, designing, writing and party-going while beavering away on her next venture. And in August 2006, she emerged from the recording studio with an album imaginatively entitled Paris. Hordes of adoring fans lined up for a glimpse of their heroine, the physical embodiment of everything they aspired to.
Paris rocks. I mean, she can do whatever she wants. She's done perfume, she's done clothing, and now she's doing music. And it's actually a pretty cool attempt at it. I mean, she's hitting different genres, and we're just here to support her.
Oh my God, just look at her, how amazing she looks. Look at the green eyeshadow and the outfit, it's amazing. That's why we're here, because she's hot.
Unfortunately, cavorting on sunny beaches in skimpy bikinis and simulating sex with male models was not enough to turn the album into a hit, and Paris was eventually dropped from Warner Brothers. However, the setback failed to shut the celebutante up. Proving that she really can go it alone, she's working on a new album with producer Scott March and has 3 films due for release over the course of the next 2 years. This comedian won the 2005 Tony Award for Best Special Theatrical Event for his one-man play 700 Sundays.
I want to thank everybody on behalf of the entire cast.
And although Billy Crystal may be best known for his work on the big screen, he's a diversifier from way back, adding credits as producer, writer and director to his impressive CV as a performer. He grew up in Long Beach, New York, the son of a Jewish record store owner. His uncle was a musician while his brother became a television producer. And in 1970, at the age of 18, he married Janice Goldfinger, who remains his wife to this day. Resurrecting his 700 Sundays show, Billy went on tour to Australia in 2007.
You're doing your whole life, you know, you're doing something that means something to you, and it's really funny, and it gets to be very touching, and you can't compare it to anything else that I've ever done. I mean, when I did the Oscars, it was a lot of preparation for, you know, one night. I love doing it, but it doesn't mean anything to your heart when you're finished. It's like, all right, that was good. Thank God that's over. But this is, you know, you get this wonderful chance once in your life, I think, to do this, and I've just been loving the ride so far.
The knockabout humor of many of Billy's characters contrasts sharply with his candid approach to interviews about his work. At the premiere of the sequel to Analyze This, he spoke about the insecurities that come with opening yourself up to criticism.
Well, they're always a little nerve-wracking. It's always, you know, a little, I hope they like it, I hope they like it. I can't do anything about my performance, you know, and it's going to be up there, and people see it, and I hope they like it. You know, that's all you can hope for, is that the audiences who come to these things come with in a good mood.
But being on set with Robert De Niro playing stressed-out mob boss Paul Vitti made it all worthwhile.
We have a good time, and I think it shows in the movie, and you know, we're very comfortable with each other and as friends and as actors. So it makes the movie. If you're going to spend time with somebody, you should like them.
Even his reclusive co-star felt comfortable enough alongside him to brave the red carpet and talk to reporters.
You know, once in a while I would break if he was making me laugh, which is what he was trying to do. the character, you know, in the scene itself, or hurt me, you know, to see if I would react to that. And so it would make me laugh. It was funny.
It was very much a mutual admiration club.
I have trouble containing myself because I love working with Bob, and every time I act with him, I always have this great feeling of, oh man, look at that, there he is. So I love our relationship for whatever reason that we work so well together. It just happens. So every day is fun to explore, and we're never satisfied.
Aside from films like When Harry Met Sally, City Slickers and Forget Paris, one of Billy's most celebrated roles has been as host of the Academy Awards broadcast. He's emceed the ceremony 8 times and became known for kicking off proceedings with hilarious medleys co-written by composer Mark Shaman that poked fun at recent happenings in the film industry.
Oh yeah, well, I had this idea for this medley the second year I hosted the show, and I called them right away and said, great, come over. So we just started doing them. And 7 of them later, you know, it's people still talk about them and still miss them, and that's nice. And we have a great time doing them.
This real estate developer was labelled a snake oil salesman by talk show host Rosie O'Donnell. The catalyst for Rosie's outburst on The View was Donald Trump's refusal to fire troubled Miss USA Tara Conner after reports of the underage beauty queen's hard partying antics hit the headlines.
After speaking to her, I saw not only a beautiful young woman, that was obvious. I saw somebody that had a good heart, that really, really tried. She left a small town in Kentucky, and she was telling me that she got caught up in the whirlwind that's New York, that we all know is New York.
Widely known for his catchphrase, "You're fired," the billionaire businessman who co-owns the Miss Universe organization decided to go easy on Tara.
Tara is going to be given a second chance. Young people today have a tough road. There's no question about it. Alcohol, drugs, life, and especially in this city and a couple of other cities. It's tough. It's not easy. I believe, after speaking with Tara, I believe that she can do a tremendous service to young people.
Tara was ordered to pack up her tiara and check into rehab before resuming her Miss USA duties. The same leniency was not afforded former Miss Universe Oksana Fedorova, who Donald turfed out of the job for failing to perform her pageant responsibilities. The man with the wayward comb-over certainly hasn't earned and lost fortunes by being Mr. Nice Guy. His aggressive entrepreneurial style has helped him build a skyscraper empire with casinos, hotels, office towers and apartment blocks across America. While a building bearing his name is still a license to print money, his excessive borrowings to keep building during the recession of the late 80s left the Donald a multi-billion-dollar debt that forced his company into bankruptcy in 2004. Since then, Trump Entertainment Resorts' share price has hit the skids. Still, Donald's ownership of more than 18 million square feet of prime Manhattan real estate must provide more than a little comfort. And of course, there's his television career, which began in 2004 with The Apprentice. As executive producer and presenter of the reality TV show, Donald played mentor and tormentor to 16 overachievers, vying for a one-year gig as president of one of his businesses, with a salary of $250,000.
This is very much reality, and it's going to be educational, and it's going to be very tough. And this is the toughest jungle of them all, New York City, and it's going to be great.
The Trump wannabes face tough weekly challenges and even tougher weekly eliminations.
I am relentless, persistent, and as Donald Trump's father used to call him, I'm a killer and a king.
The first series rated its socks off, and hundreds of entrepreneurial hopefuls turned up with their suits and briefcases to get on the shortlist for Series 2.
I'm looking for somebody that has a tremendous ability, a tremendous brain power, a tremendous sense of loyalty, and wants to work very hard.
The show became a franchise, and after several series ran out of juice. But by 2008, Donald was determined to squeeze every last drop out of the idea by drafting in celebrity apprentices like Gene Simmons, Stephen Baldwin, and British newspaper editor Piers Morgan. And this time, it was all in the name of charity.
One of the big differences, the War Room is going to be in existence for the winning team. They're in a room as we're firing somebody on the losing team. So they're going to be watching it happen, and we've never done that before in The Apprentice. And I think it's going to be very exciting. Other than that, they're living in a great hotel. And after we're over, I'll tell you what the hotel is.
Meanwhile, his first wife, Ivana, who reportedly played a large part in creating the Trump empire, also continues to court the cameras for her various ventures. Since divorcing Donald in the 90s, the Czechoslovakian ex-Olympic skier has become a celebrity powerhouse in her own right. Despite her loose grip on the English language, she has written several books and hosted a reality dating series called Ivana Young Man. And she spoke out about the dispute between her ex-husband and Rosie O'Donnell.
They asked me to respond, so I did respond, and I was quite diplomatic. On the end of the day, I said, you know, guys, you know, just take a high road. It is ridiculous. But you know what? All of them, they're getting, O'Donnell and Rosie, they're getting fantastic ratings. They're getting publicity. They're really using it as a marketing tool, not per se that they are enemies. And I understand that only too well.
However, she made no comment about Donald's third marriage to Slovenian beauty Melanie Anaus, who gave birth to their baby Baron William in September 2005, bringing Donald's child count to 5.